You open it up, you scroll for a bit, you see the worst opinion you've ever seen on the internet, and then you're like, my day is ruined.
Our wonderful, amazing U.S. President Joe Biden.
Oh, Mr. Biden. All right, now I pay for Shonen Jump. So now I'm like, I can read manga on the toilet.
It's like pretty cool. Like, oh, it's delicious food, and then they like strip their clothes off for some reason because it's so delicious. I was looking at Zuko while we were
I know,
sinking.
exactly. He just sort of waltzed in.
Giving me the death
Hey,
stare,
what's
dude.
up, tough guy? How's it going?
What's up?
Hey, how you doing? What's up, puppy? Oh, yeah, welcome on in. Welcome to the episode.
What is Zuko reaching for?
We got
there?
a special guest. He's just sitting on my lap. We got a special guest, little Zuko. Zuko, look,
We
it's
can't
Davis.
see him. We can't see him. Hi, Zuko.
What's up, party people?
My girlfriend's cat hates being picked up. Like,
Oh,
immediately.
my girlfriend's cat hates Zuko. How?
Immediately after you try to like pick her up, she's like, meow. She doesn't want anyone to touch her.
Yeah, I have 3 cats. And they're weird. The little kitten.
I thought you had one. You had like one little kitten. How'd you get more?
No, I've had 2 cats for like 10 years, and I got one. We got one little kitten that just kind of strolled up and was like, "Yeah."
I forget you have a farm.
Yeah, we grow
Oh,
outside that window. We grow potatoes, carrots. What's another vegetable? Fucking, I don't know. Celery. We grow
apples.
We grow beans. Anyway, so I don't remember what I was gonna say, but yeah, cats. One of them, the kitten is fine being picked up for like a little bit, and then eventually when it doesn't want to be, it's like I'm done. And then my oldest cat, Boyd, he hates being picked up. And then Scaredy doesn't really care, but but anyway, our dog, or my mom's dog, Red, he's a German pinscher. He despises being picked up. Like, I'll pick him up and he's chill for like 2 seconds and he'll start like bucking like a horse. And that's usually when it's time to put him back on the ground. So anyway, Suku, what you doing? Okay, it's not in frame. I was gonna say he's just licking his stuff.
Test. Okay. I was fooling around with my mic settings because it was picking up some background noise and I wanted to cut it out.
I think you just gotta do what I do and just have the microphone so close to your face that it literally can't pick up any other noise besides what's coming out of my. That
you want to hear a joke about black holes?
About black holes?
Yeah, it kind of sucks though.
That's a good one.
I told Kay that the other day.
There.
She had no reaction to it. I was like, aren't you gonna laugh? She was like, no, I thought it was funny. And then she like changed subjects. I'm like, how rude. Can I at least get a chuckle?
Oh god, I love when like you're when someone says something really funny and then they have no reaction. They're like, oh my god, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, what? If it is, you didn't laugh. You had no reaction to it, so it can't be that funny. You just looked at me with like you were gonna shoot me with laser eyes.
I'm not bringing you to a comedy show. Oh man.
Oh, my ankle hurts. So I guess I can talk about my week a little bit. Just real quick.
Yeah, shoot.
I've been right here. I haven't moved. I should probably get a little bit more centered with my camera. No, I last week I bought Assassin's Creed Origins because it was on sale. My brother bought it on PlayStation like roughly when it came out, but my PS4 has recently taken a nosedive. It's taken 2 steps off a 1-step cliff. So it's basically like when I put a disc in it now, it just ejects immediately. Now usually you can like pop a little like there's like a little rubber foot that you can rip out, and I did that because my brother's place had the same thing, and then I did that and it fixed it. And then sometimes it won't eject discs, but like sometimes it like you'll go to press the button and it'll be like, nah, fuck you, this is mine now.
Eject more like rejects.
Basically. So now I can't use like discs on my PlayStation, which really sucks because I had okay, well, behind this chair, there's a lot of video games. I have a lot of PlayStation games. You can't see them, but they're there. And yeah, so I have.
So you have to play digital games now, right?
Well, that's the thing. But the thing is, I have a gaming PC, and it's like I've gotten like addicted to 60 FPS now. So anyway, Assassin's Creed Origins was on sale, so I bought that because I wanted to play it.
There's a lot of games on sale right now, I think, right?
Yeah, there's been a huge sale going on the last like month.
I think Demon Slayer is one of those games. Demon Slayer, and then also the Fairy Tail has like an RPG game. I might buy it, I might not.
I bought the Demon Slayer game, and that it's not bad so far. It's basically just the anime, but you're playing it now, or it's the anime but slightly worse because it doesn't look as nice. But it's not terrible. The gameplay's pretty fun. So far the only characters I've played is Tanjiro and Nezuko. The only complaint I have is I think it's just because I'm not good at the game yet. Like I'm very inexperienced. Is the fact that so triangle, or I guess I'm using a PS4 controller, but your skill button, it automatically. So for Tanjiro, he uses the water wheel immediately, but you have to do to do whirlpool, you got to hold R1 and triangle, and then he'll do whirlpool. But sometimes it'll mess up, so I got to do one move, and he just keeps spamming whirlpool or water wheel. So it's the same voice line. Yeah, it's the same voice line, and it's just that over and over again. And I'm like, oh my god, I get it, man.
I think it's so funny whenever fighting games they just like repeat like the skill name, like what's it called, Street Fighter Hadouken.
Oh
they
yeah,
do it over and over again.
I've done Waterfall Basin like once or twice, but I have no idea how I've done it. It's just kind of suddenly popped up, and it's like
it's a very daunting task to like do all those combos.
Well, yeah, so it's like there's 10 different or 12 different thing. I don't know what it's going to be like when you get up to like the actual like professional people. I'm really curious to unlock Zenitsu because I'm like, well, he has one move, so I'm like, I wonder what how he's going to play. So
just one move? That's not fun.
well, yeah, in the show he only has his whole thing is that he has one move. So I'm curious to see how that'll be in the game. Nezuko is like it actually doesn't play really at all the same as Tanjiro, but she just you kicks everything.
It's nice whenever they have like different playability.
The only
more diversity.
Yeah, it's like they're different enough that it didn't feel like the only problem is that like it's in the first mission you unlock is like when you're fighting the swamp demon from like early episodes. Is the fact that you're supposed to be playing as Tanjiro, but they give you the option to switch to Nezuko, and I'm like, well, I've been playing Tanjiro the last little bit, so I'm gonna switch to her. But so then the demon you're fighting is like, wow, this guy's really strong, and I'm like, he's not even here, so I don't know what you're talking about. But you can have Tanjiro pop in, he'll do his skill as like a stun almost, and then you can get it. Like you can get some really cool combos going with Nezuko. At least I found it easier to get combos going, and like stun lock people. Which is a little cheap, but it was fun. It reminded me of because I played the My Hero Academia game, the My Hero 1 Justice 2, and I played the whole story of that, and that game is really fun. I think I played through every character, and some characters you could like stun lock, and it you could stun lock to oblivion, and fighting in PvP against those characters is no fun because it's like basically you make one slight mistake and you get into that stun lock. It's basically just put your controller down and GG.
Yeah, fighting. I stepped away from like PvP fighting games. Like a long time ago, I used to play this MMORPG called Elsword, and there's this character who you can pretty much compare him to Kirito. His name's Raven.
Oh, no.
He uses one sword, and he uses it really fast. So it's like a bunch of like fast swordsmanship and stuff. So if you get caught into like his combos and such, you're pretty much screwed. Actually, you can stun lock anyone or with anyone. I feel like because there are a lot of broken combos, I guess you can say.
Yeah, this is a little off topic, but we're talking about broken combos. Sorry, I don't know why I started talking and then took a drink. My bad. But anyway, but I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And one of the Vagabond dudes that you sent me.
Here we go.
It was some kind of I don't know. I remember like it was some kind of like wyvern girl or something, wyvern girl, something like that. It was weird. It was like a leafy girl, like aroma something. Anyway,
Oh, uh-huh.
so I was playing there and I was like, I drew my hand. I had a bunch of blue eyes and like I was like, okay, well that's unfortunate. I guess I can't really attack this turn, but it was the first turn anyway, so I laid down a couple trap cards, moved along, and I was like, okay. I think I actually saved the replay, so if I did, I'll send it to you. Because I was like, okay, well next turn if I just draw something I can send it in, then I can get my combos going and I'll be able to get like, twin burst in a second. And then I shit you not, it was like 5 minutes for his main phase, just like summoning monsters, then tribute summoning, then mixing them all together, and then fusion summoning. I'm like, holy shit, I just want to play the game. And he's still going, and then I'm like,
Timed out.
no, he didn't. Well, there's no time in the AI fights, but it was just like it just kept going. It just kept going and going and going and going, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh my god.
Vagabond, right?
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, this is still going. And then
I kid you not, that's how real Yu-Gi-Oh is.
Yeah, and then
any person that plays Yu-Gi-Oh will tell you that.
Yeah, and he ends with like he has like a 4700 attack power monster, and then because he sent a bunch of stuff to his graveyard, he sent out a monster that like gets attack power when stuff's in your graveyard, and it had like 8700 attack, and I'm like, what the fuck? So
that's exactly how real Yu-Gi-Oh is played. It's like if you don't do a lot on your first turn, you lose.
Yeah, I'm like, because
there's so much setup you have to do.
Because the thing is, I was sat there and I was like, what the fuck was I ever supposed to do against that? Because I'm assuming that he just got really like he maybe drew like a really lucky hand, because I'm like there was just so much like everything like because it was like he would do his thing. And then it'd be like, okay, so he has some monster on the field. Okay, I can survive this. And then it'd be like, but I activate my effect. Well, he just has like little he just makes noises. But anyway, it just kept going and going. And I was like, oh my god, like, dude, you got me already. Like, you don't have to do the rest of this. You already have, because like I think he had 1 point, he had like 3 monsters on the field that all did like 2000 damage. So I'm like, okay, you're just go to your battle phase, end the fight. Because my trap card was like a dragon's rebirth, so it's like I literally couldn't do anything. So it was like, I mean, I got a little unlucky.
But they don't know.
It's like I got a little unlucky because, but the thing is also like, well, no matter what like even if I got like some insane crazy luck that I was able to get like Neo Blue Eyes on the field in the first turn, I don't know how the fuck, I don't even think that's possible. But if I was able to do that, it still wouldn't be even anywhere near enough because his one guy doubled the attack.
If your opening hand is 3 Blue Eyes and Polymerization. You can
I guess so, but like, what are the chances of that happening? I guess they're not that low, but anyway. So that was annoying. And then I had a game that I sent you, I think, that was like I thought I was screwed like 4 times, and I was able to come back from it, and I felt like a absolute...
Was it that one where you were like in a stalemate for the longest time? Yeah, that was a good one.
I was pretty happy that I was able to survive that. And then after I got absolutely rocked by that, because the thing, it was a 2-turn fight, but it lasted like 10 minutes because he was just doing all his like magic crap, and I'm like, I honestly don't even know how. Because, like, I didn't have time to read the cards, because he'd send a card, I'm like, okay, what does that do? And it's gone by the time I could, like, start reading it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, yeah, it's like, because I'm like, he'll send out a card and it has 0 attack, 0 defense, and I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. But it's like, this is just a card that's basically a placeholder to summon the next thing. And I'm like, so then why can't we just cut up the middleman? Like, how long does this go? Because, like, within, like, a few seconds, he had, like, 10 cards in his graveyard. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, I don't think he normal summoned 1 card. I think everything was special summon or effect activated or something from his extra deck, some kind of nonsense. It was just like, oh my lord, dude, you had me.
Yu-Gi-Oh has evolved.
I guess so, because I'm like, dude, you had me.
It's a different breed now.
You had me dead to rights in the first like minute, like when you had a few things in your graveyard, sent out. You had 3 monsters in the field, all did a ton of damage. And then he kept going, and he got his 8700 thing. I think he had 1 slot full or empty, and then a 4700 attack. I think it had some kind of spell card on it. I don't remember if it boosted or not, but he had some kind of spell card on one, and then he had the other guy that gets boosted from graveyard. And I'm just like, I literally stood no chance. I'm like, what? Because
I think I had fought the same like the plant mages, era mages too, and I got completely wiped.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you supposed to do against that? I know. Okay, obviously there's ways around it, but I don't fucking know them.
There was
Anyway,
a
sorry.
duel that I had. I no, you're fine. There was a duel I had. It was against actually you wouldn't know the archetype of cards, but I was playing against heroes, and there's like
I've seen them before.
there's like a spell card, right? That's like a quick play, so you can change one of your monsters into what's called like a masked hero. So what he did was like I drew like a brick hand. I couldn't summon anything, set anything. Or I guess I had some trap cards, but he summoned his monster, he attacked, and then he used his mask change, and he special summoned like one of the fusion monsters, and then it's this particular fusion monster was like for each monster your opponent controls, it gets plus 500. So it's like if I summon something, it's not going to be able to beat it. And then its second skill was like you can banish something from your graveyard, and then you can like weaken one of your opponent's monsters. I'm like, well, okay, well I can't really get around this. Like it's the replay. No, it's the replay I showed you or I sent to you, but you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
It was so close.
I don't know why.
I was down to like 500 life points, and I don't know how I made it through. I was like, hey, maybe if I just destroy the monster with an effect, I don't know.
Oh no, that's what it was. Yeah, he got. Yeah, that's what it was. He had he also had a thing that it was like every monster in the graveyard. I think it was a spell card. But it was like every monster in the graveyard to get like 500 some life points. I remember he had like 10,000 life points. He had 2 strong monsters on the field. So I was like, there was literally not a single chance in hell that I was ever going to beat this fool. Like,
no, I think it's the field spell. It's like the whole mechanic of like those era mages where is like if you have more life points than your opponent, then you can do this. Or you can once per turn gain 500 life points to do this, and this.
Either way, he had a ton of HP or LP, I guess. Ton of life
I'm
points.
definitely trying to build arrow mages.
No.
Kind of difficult though.
Don't.
Just no.
No, I can't beat regular you or normal deck that you have. I'm not getting around that.
There's I've been trying to like craft a bunch of other decks too. And I like came to realize like I have enough like I guess tickets, like those exchange tickets. I have enough of those tickets to like build a somewhat decent deck. And one of the decks that I built is like competitive for, at least for the certain archetype. It's Cyber Angels. I don't know if you guys know what Cyber Angels are.
When you go into competitive, is it like, can you go in so I can fight other Blue Eyes people, or is it like any deck in the game?
It's they randomly match you up based on like how high rank you are.
Okay. Okay, so I guess that's like
if you're doing a casual duel, right? If you're doing a casual duel, it'll just pair you up with like whoever is also equal to you. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say.
But then you won't gain anything. But then also sometimes like really strong people will enter casual. Like me, I haven't ranked up at all, but I say I have a pretty decent deck. I'm like on a 10 win streak right now, so.
Damn. Okay.
Well, literally, the thing is, like, I've been getting a lot of people that have been disconnecting, without even playing a card.
Yeah,
it's weird.
When I did my video on Yu-Gi-Oh, I cut out like 10-15 minutes of just people disconnecting.
Yeah.
I had I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh shit. Oh, I was gonna say something about casual.
Was it about
duels.
PvP? Oh, casual.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about casual duels because I was like, I've tried them before. Or the only time I've tried them was for the video. Oh no, yeah, the AI have gotten better because I've been like, I spent like an hour just ranking up my stage, and I went up quite a few, and then I hadn't really like thought about it all that much, and then I was fighting the AI because I had just gotten beaten by one of the vagabond dudes, so I was like, okay, I need to feel good about myself. I just want to fight the AI, just sweep him out real quick, and then the dude was like, I drew a bad hand. I was like, it's fine. The AI can't do anything anyway. And the guy like sweeped me within like 4 turns. Like by his second turn, I was dead, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" So I was like, "Okay, that's enough Yu-Gi-Oh for the day."
That's what I really like about the AI. It's like as you level up your stage, like the AI will improve, and so will their deck. Because like when you first start, literally you set a card face down, they'll attack into it, no matter.
Yeah, now it's
what's there.
They always set cards so like face down. So you're just attacking them and it flips it. I've realized how OP World Dragon is, because I'm like, as soon as I get in, I have no worries of attacking into upside down cards, because I'm like, well, as soon as I flip up, I'm basically guaranteed to have more attack power than you. So
Yeah, there's
got
hardly any cards that are like super high defense that you won't be able to get over.
Yeah.
With the World Dragon. It's a good card.
I got the character unlocks I got the stage 16 so I could unlock Yugi. I just haven't yet. I've gotten most of them. There's one that it's like win one comeback duel, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's like that one. It's like in a situation where you have less life points than your opponent, if you win on that turn, then it's a comeback victory.
On that turn?
But if on that turn, or it can be any time like your life points are less. But like if you, let's say like your life points are lower, but then you get them down to like less than your life points, but you still haven't beaten them yet, that's not a comeback. So it has to be within that turn.
Okay, so
one turn. Yeah,
I have to have less than him, and I have to beat him outright. Okay. Actually, that's not as impossible.
With Blue Eyes, it's kind of easy.
Yeah, I'm thinking about.
You could probably do like one of the legendary duelists. Just have them set to like level 10, super weak. You just kill them.
I want to get Neo Blue Eyes in my normal deck without having to use the skill. Because I've been playing normal Kaiba in the other world, and I'm like, I had a turn where I had 3 Blue Eyes in my hands, and I was like, why can't I summon? Usually the little skill thing pops up, and it's like, hey, you want to summon? And I'm like, why can't I? And then he put his mountain card down, so I was like, okay, well, I guess that explains it.
Hey, that's the wrong skill.
Oh yeah, unfortunately,
the wrong Kaiba too. No, if you just level up your Dark Side of Dimensions Kaiba, eventually you'll get a Neo Blue Eyes. I think that's like the only way to get it.
Oh man, I have a lot of tickets. I gotta
hard.
start using those because a lot of those expire in like a week. So
yeah,
I gotta burn through those real quick. But yeah, other than that, we were gonna record last week, but we were both just tired and we hadn't really watched much stuff. I haven't watched much more than that. It's Christmas time and it's been a stressful time. So it's like I haven't been doing all that much. I moved my room around, which
I noticed.
You can probably see. Basically what I did is like my bed was in the middle of this is gonna sound so weird, but I'm going to roll up my sleeves real quick because they're really bothering me. Sorry. So my bed was in the middle of the room for like the longest time. And my desk was like where I'm sitting right now. Like my desk was like right here. And then my shelf was where my bed is now. Because this window used to be to my left. Excuse me. Actually, that might not even be in frame right now. But anyway. So I was like, I'd been wanting to move my room around for a little bit because I was like, it's been the same stuff, and I'm like, I just want to change it up a little bit. So I was like, and for some reason, I got like a weird feeling one night, and I was kind of like, I don't really like being in the middle of the room. I kind of want to be up against the wall again, which sounds weird. So I moved my bed, so I'm up against that wall now, and it's so strange because it's the same fucking bed, but it feels way cozier now. But also, it's cold as shit in Canada, and my window here, like in Canada, with like it's been. I think right now it's hold on, I'll tell you how cold it is. It's -31 right now. Sorry, -32 right now. So it's cold as shit. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but -32 degrees Celsius. It's very cold. And this window, it's like around, like that wall is frigid. So when it starts to get a little warm, or it doesn't get as warm when I'm going to sleep now because that window's right there and it's fucking cold. So it's like my bed all here is like, it's not like icy, but it's cool to the touch, which is very nice. Because I hate like overheating, obviously. So it's like I'm not
I feel like having a cold bed is like It's like a good problem because if you're cold,
Yeah,
you can
it
just put on
sounds
some
it
layers.
sounds like it'd be miserable, but I'm like I get just warm enough from just like body heat and being in a blanket, and it stays a little bit cool because I got this cold ass outside. Like that entire wall is very cold. So anyway, also there's a hole in my wall for an Ethernet cable, and my shelf is now blocking that, so that's nice. So any bugs that climb in here are gonna have to deal with that. The only thing was
Is that
that
a blue screen next to you? I just noticed that. Is that a blue screen?
here.
Yeah.
Oh
what
no,
is that?
that's a painting. That's a painting that my.
Oh.
It's a painting that my. That my hold on, let's see if I can have this more in frame. There you go. It's a painting that my mom made because. Oh, I gotta hang this back on the wall now. Uh-oh. Ow. Perfect. That painting there is also something that my mom made, and then I got another one up there, and then I got one that my sister made there, and then I have one that it's right there, that my sister made. It's also there, and then I got a Hollow Knight thing that my sister made. That's just out of frame, but when I'm standing, you can see it. It's like perfectly in frame, and I really like it. I will say I really like this new setup because I've had this setup before. If you've been on the channel for a while, or on my channel for a while, I've had this setup before. I had this back in October 2019. Because
subscribe.
Because the idea, yes, subscribe to all of the channels. There's 3 of them. Subscribe to all of them. I haven't uploaded in like 2 weeks, but still subscribe. But because the original idea, so October 2019, that's when because it was August of 2019 that I took a break, that I took an actual, like, I had been doing YouTube since 2011, and I've been making videos, and I haven't been consistent with it, but I had always been making videos. Whether I was uploading or not, I was always recording and editing stuff. It's just whether I had bad internet or I was sad, I was pretty much always making videos. I was always thinking about videos and thinking about new ideas and stuff. So August 2019, I was getting really, I didn't love my videos. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take an actual, like, legitimate break. I'm going to not think about YouTube, and I'm going to actively not make any videos. I'm just going to chill. And that was the first time I had played a game without recording it in like years, and it felt so great. It was weird because I was kind of like, man, I should be recording this right now. Because like when something funny would happen, I'm like, oh, I really wish, that would have been a great moment. But it was still like, because I played through all of Bloodborne, and it was amazing because I love that game. But it was really nice to just play it, not have to worry about anything, which I know sounds weird because I'm like, this isn't my job, but it's something I really like to do. And it's like, it's been my hobby for a really long time, and I've never taken a break from it. And then I came back, and I felt great. I came back, and I think from like when I came back to like May of 2020 was when I made some of my best videos. So it was definitely worth it. But basically, I guess it was more September 2019. My idea was that I was like, okay, I really like cozy spaces, so I want to make my recording area like a cozy little like cubicle, basically. So I was gonna move my bed, and I was gonna have my desk like cut it off, and I was gonna have this tiny little like pocket, and that's where I was gonna chill. The only difference was that this was slightly I didn't have the shelf, but it was slightly further back because I had a longer desk too. It like went right up to my bed, so where my hand is right now is where it sat. And basically the only way to like get out of my thing was to climb over my bed, and that's what I did. So I'd get my dinner, I'd put it over my monitor, and then I'd hop over my bed, and I did that for like a month. And I liked it, but I got to a point where I was like, okay, maybe this is a little too cozy because it's a little too cramped. Because I'm like, I can't, like, climbing over my bed like once or twice is not so bad, but I'm like, having to do it all the time gets a little miserable. So anyway, I moved it, and then I moved it to where it was here, and I had that for quite a while, because I liked how like my bed was in the middle, it like everything fit quite nicely, and then in January of this year, I moved it back to this setup. Same desk and everything. I just had the shelf behind me now, and I was like, hey, this is not bad because the shelf fits literally perfectly. It cannot fit more perfectly between the bed and the wall. Like, I can't really like show you, but it's like where my bed is, like the way the bed frame is designed, it sticks out like ever so slightly. It is like literally a hair difference between like scratching up against the shelf. So it fits perfectly. So I really liked it. And then I had the same setup. I just pushed the desk a little bit further so I could actually like shimmy out. But the problem was that my desk still just took up too much freaking room. But I had that set up for a little while, and then I got a different desk. Not this desk. I got a different desk. Like, I have a standing desk now, but I had a different one because I built the desk, and that desk broke, so I got a new one that was my mom's. I was just basically borrowing it until I could afford a new desk. Anyway, so, and then when I got back to this room in August, I had that set up for a while, and I didn't hate it because, again, everything fit. I bought a new shelf because it fit perfectly. That shelf that sat behind me for a while, that sat next to this one, it fit very nicely. And then that was the concern, is because I've wanted to move it back to this for a little while now, but I was like, because I want to feel nice and cozy, which I definitely do. I feel super cozy. But I was like, well, what am I gonna do with that? Like, where am I gonna put that? So now it just sits next to my fridge, and I reworked this shelf to actually fit, because the thing I liked having the amazing Yamaguchi boxes in the background of like action figure boxes, and I liked having those in the background. So now they're on top of the shelf, which again you can't see right now because I kind of designed my background for when I'm standing up, because I'm like, well, I'm gonna be standing up while I'm recording most of the time anyway. So when I'm sitting down, it looks kind of weird. But when I'm standing, you got the Hollow Knight thing in the background. The My Hero Academia volume, I actually have it on the shelf now. And it fits, which by the way, I got that. And it fits like just perfectly next to my shoulder, so everything looks very nice in the frame. When I'm actually recording normal gameplay stuff. So I like this new setup. The only thing is making the bed slightly harder because I can't get around it as easily. So it's like I'm like climbing over it to reach the corner. But
same.
So it's like, so making it doesn't look as nice, but it's still made. So I'm like, you know what, whatever.
You're the only one sleeping on it.
Yeah, it looks like if someone walks in here, it looks presentable. But
I can't say the same right now. My bed is a mess.
Well, the thing that was another reasoning why when I did that setup originally was because now that my bed would be in frame, I was like, well, now I have to make my bed because when I'm recording, I can't have a messy bed in my frame. So I'm like, I was forced to make my bed, and it actually did work because now I'm in the habit of making my bed. I know I'm fucking. It took me 18 years to get there, but I got that habit. And now I make my bed all the time because I also just like how it looks, because when it's not made, I think I don't know, it looks, because I got this ugly, like, I don't know if you can see that. I got this ugly, like, bed sheet. It's like foxes. I got it a couple years ago. I also have a weighted blanket under there. It's 15 pounds. It's not bad.
Dang.
It feels
you
like
live in Canada. I mean,
it feels like a nice, I don't know, because what I used to do when I was younger is after I wouldn't put my clothes away, after I washed them, I would just put them on me because I like the weight. And then I learned that weighted blankets exist. So I was like, oh shit, that's a real thing. But yeah, and then but as soon as I move this setup, I'm going to talk about this briefly because I don't want to get into spoilers because it's a thing that's still going. But I hadn't read any manga for a while. And then I had suck, and then I opened up because the Shonen Jump app, because I've been reading the My Hero Academia manga week to week, obviously. And then I had started reading Demon Slayer a little bit, and the art style is actually a lot different than I thought it was. Like, it's not that far from the anime, but it is enough. Like the My Hero Academia manga and the My Hero Academia anime look almost identical, but the Demon Slayer manga and the Demon Slayer anime, actually, there's definitely some, besides just one has color, one doesn't. Like, it actually does look like different. Anyway, but then I've seen Kaiju number 8 on there because it's like, hey, you should read this manga. And I'd seen it a couple times, and I was like, oh, that looks cool, but I'll read it eventually. And then because I deleted Twitter off my phone, because it's just a shit show. So it's
That's
like,
why you haven't been getting my messages.
so it's like, wait, what?
I sent you something on Twitter.
Oh, Cal, check that in a second.
Yeah, it's not important.
But I look at Twitter, like very briefly now. I didn't delete it because of the new Spider-Man movie. I guess that's a nice bonus, but I've still gotten spoiled for that movie. But anyway, I deleted Twitter because it was just like, because the problem, not to get too deep, but the problem that I ran into was that, so I had my phone sit on my desk, so I had to get out of bed to just shut the alarm off. And what I ended up doing was, goes off 6:30 a.m. I get up and I'm like, ugh. And then I grab my phone, I turn off the alarm, and then it's like, okay, now you start your day. Hi, Zuko. So, all right, welcome back. And then it's like, okay, then you start your day, right? You get dressed, you go, you do your thing. What I would do is I'd grab my phone, turn off the alarm, and then I'd flop back in bed, and then I'd open Twitter, and I'd scroll through that for like an hour. So then there goes my fucking morning.
Twitter is like my newspaper, dude.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like, that's what I like sort of like convinced myself, was that it was like, okay, no, I'm just like, I'm getting the news. But then as I'm scrolling through, I'm like, I'm not saying you're not, but I'm like, as I'm scrolling through, I'm like, I'm getting nothing. And it's like, I see, it's like how Twitter goes is you wake up, you open it up, you scroll for a bit, you see the worst opinion you've ever seen on the internet, and then you're like, my day is ruined. Like, my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. Because I'll open it up.
I will say...
And, oh, sorry, continue.
I was going to say, I did get spoiled. Not that I'm going to see the movie, but I did get spoiled with what's it called? No Way Home?
Oh, yeah,
the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
I got spoiled.
Yeah, me too.
Feels bad.
Well, I don't know when we're going to see it, but like, because COVID is a bitch, and now we got the Omicron variant, which is like a fucking transformer. So now I'm like, I don't really want to get sick. All right, it's like I've made it this fucking far. You know, I've made it this far without getting sick, and I'm kind of like, I think I really want to see the movie. Do not get me wrong, I really want to see it. If the opportunity arises, fuck yeah, I'm going to see it. But I'm also like, Spider-Man or getting really sick, or sorry, seeing Spider-Man getting really sick, or not seeing Spider-Man and not getting sick.
I think most people would rather see Spider-Man than get sick.
Sorry, that was terrible. No, but I'm like, I think I'd rather, not get sick and just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus or on Blu-ray or whatever. Because I'm like, at the end of the day,
live to see the other future movies.
That's because I'm like, as much as I want to see the movie, I'm like, it's not that important, like in the grand scheme of things. But anyway.
Yeah, Kay and I are really worried about the Omicron Delta whole variants.
Yeah, there's so many new variants, and I'm like, oh my lord.
We know it's called Omicron.
Oh, is it?
We know. Yeah, it's not Omicron.
I thought it was Omnicron. I was like, isn't that the fucking dude that fought Optimus Prime? Okay.
No, I think there was like a clip of our wonderful, amazing U.S. President Joe Biden.
Oh, Mr. Biden.
Sometimes I forget he's our president, just because I don't even know what he's done. But anyways, there's a clip of him.
He got rid of Trump.
Well, he didn't do it. We did.
I guess he didn't like.
We voted him out. He's gone.
Good point.
Joe didn't do anything but campaign, but yeah, there's a clip of him just saying Omicron, and I'm like, that's not. As a president, like as a normal person, it's cool. It's funny. Yeah, you can make a Transformers joke. It's like kind of funny. But if you're the president of your country, dude, come on, you gotta take it seriously. You gotta say it right.
But anyway, sorry, I was talking about kaiju. How did we get talking about code?
oh, we were talking about.
Oh, right, because I deleted
Twitter.
Yeah, so I deleted Twitter because it was just, I'd wake up, I'd see the worst opinion ever, I'd get sad, and then I'd be like, okay, well, my day is ruined now. Especially like last year, it was like you'd open it up and it'd be like, guys, COVID's not real, and it's like, oh my god. And then all these replies would be like, yeah, well, my dad just died from it last night, and I'm like, okay, well, now I'm fucking depressed, and it's not even 7 a.m. So Anyway, so I was like, I've deleted Twitter, no lie, like 7 times. And every time I re-download it because I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do in the toilet? Like, so then
That's why I have it.
So then I bought, or now I pay for Shonen Jump. So now I'm like, I can read manga on the toilet. But so I've been reading My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I've been reading My Hero Academia week to week, which they're on a break right now for Christmas. Or I think Christmas. Horikochi's on some kind of break. Anyway, but then I was like, I don't know what it was. I was just sitting on the toilet and I was like, well, this one's taking a while. So I was like, all right, let's see what's. And then Kaiju number 8 popped up and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna start this anime or this manga. And it's 53. I think chapter 53 just came out. Yeah. And I
it's
read
ongoing.
Yeah, so I sat down and I started reading it, and basically the premise of it is they live in a part of Japan that has the highest kaiju emergence. So there's just like these things are popping up like every 5 minutes. And there's this defense force that has these suits made out of kaiju muscle fibers. And it's like, so it gives them an attack boost and they have to be like compatible with it. And the more you train, the more you get compatible with it. So like if you're at like a 96%, you're like top of the top kind of thing. Like you're like strongest people in the defense force. So basically when they were younger, the main character, who's a 32-year-old man, was with this girl named, I think her name's Mina. And then they got separated, or sorry, they were like, the kaiju attacked and they were like, okay, we're going to join the defense force and we're going to beat these things back. And then the reason I'm okay spoiling this is because this literally happens in the first chapter. Like this is all explained in the first chapter. So it's like the kind of the hook. So she ends up getting in the defense force and she's like one of the best, but he fails the exam. So he goes into the cleanup. So what he does now is when they take all the credit, they zap these things and kill the kaiju, which there's only been a handful of kaiju and he's kaiju number 8. There's like Hanju and Yanju or something like that. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but there's like miniature kaiju that are still really strong, but they're not. Like kaijus are like, okay, we gotta get the whole like best of the best together to take these things down. And there's a step above that. It's like Daikaiju or something like that. I don't fucking know.
Probably Daikaiju.
Daikaiju. That sounds way more right than whatever the fuck I just said.
It just, I think it translates to great. I think kaiju. What's kaiju? Monster. Great monster.
Yeah. The English title is Monster Number 8, which doesn't sound nearly as cool. Anyway, so basically he's in the cleanup and she's in the defense force, like one of the best. And it's really cool seeing because it's like he goes in and he's like has to deconstruct, like him and his team have to deconstruct the kaiju and like get them off the streets and like melt these bodies down to be turned into more weapons and defense force armors and things like that. So it's really, really cool. And then he meets up with, and then there's a new recruit, this kid that is joining the cleanup as part-time because he's like 18 and he's working to join the defense force. And he's like, I can get some extra knowledge here because it's like you can figure out weak points and stuff. So it's like, I'll get some extra knowledge here and then I'll go do that. And then he meets the main character. That's the other thing I really like about this is that it's a shonen anime, but it's not like set in high school. There's a couple of teenage characters, but like most of the characters are adults.
I would not trust a kid to
it's like there's one girl and she's like 16, I think, but she's like some big shot's daughter and she's like super strong.
That's fine.
But she also acts like a kid. Like for the most part the main guy acts like an adult. He has his moments where he's like, but for the most part and then basically they're cleaning up and then it's just the two of them left because it's like he's like doing his thing. He gets like intestine duty, which is like the worst like job you can get. And then the new guy gets the same job, and then so like they're together, and then a couple small kaiju attack, and then he's like, oh shit, and he's like, I've always wanted to be in the defense force, but I'm a loser. So he's like, all right, you run, kid, and he like steps up to the mantle. He's like, get out of here, kid. And then like go call for help, and he's like, all right, well I guess I'm gonna die here. I'll hold these things off for a sec because like he doesn't have any weapons. He's literally just a dude.
Does the zap thing not work on living kaiju?
The zap thing?
You said they decompose the kaiju if they're dead.
They get like chainsaws and things like that, which I don't think they. Now you mention it, I don't think he used that. I think he literally just like bare fists, like, all right, let's fight, dude. Anyway, the kid comes back and he's like, and the guy's like, what are you doing? You should have left. And he's like, no, I'm helping you. They fight out the kaiju. His old friend shows up. And she's like, well, you're an idiot for trying to take these on. And then they end up in the hospital because they got beat up. And then basically how the chapter ends, this is all in the first chapter, by the way. Basically how it ends is one, like, a miniature kaiju that came from that, I guess, took like an interest in him or something like that. And like shows up in the hospital room and he's like, what the fuck is that? And then it flies into his mouth. And then I guess like bonds with him. And then he turns into, because the kid looks over at him and then he's suddenly this monster. And the rest of the manga goes on. And it is so fucking great. It is such a great manga. It started last year. It only started last summer, I think. So there's only 53 chapters. They take a break every 3 weeks, I think it is. So he does about 3 chapters a month. It's actually like I've never really seen that before. Like usually they just take a break like kind of out of the blue, but they have it set up that it's like, no, we specifically take every so often we take a 1 week off for sure.
I think that's really good.
No, it's very healthy. And when they are gone, they have these like, so it's like chapter like 38.1. And it takes a lot of the covers and they color them, and they put it in like a little, like it's like 5 pages. So you get to see a couple of the covers colored, and they're actually very well done. The first page, or the first chapter, the first like 3 pages are all colored, which threw me off because I was like, hold on, is this an entire manga that's colored? Like that's really impressive. But then it goes back to black and white, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. But it's really, really cool because it's like, and I was like, man, this has to become an anime. I think I tweeted that because I was like, man, this needs to be an anime. But the problem with it, because I looked it up, but the problem why because it's super popular, but the problem why it can't be an anime right now is there's just not enough content. There's only 53 chapters, which is like, that'd be roughly like a season and a half of an anime. Usually I read that when anime or manga get anime adaptations, they usually have around 100 to 120 chapters already made. So that way, if the anime is popular enough, they can just immediately get the next episode, get the next season going. So, which means that if Kaiju number 8 to get an anime, it would need at least 100 chapters, and we're only 50, and it's taken a year and a half to get here. So it's like, it'll be like another year and a half.
I feel like
2 years.
I feel like maybe they could do like Netflix. Well, even then, it's still like anime adapting to manga. You know, if they do like through Netflix,
it'll probably
just like a 12 episode sort of thing.
Yeah, it'll probably 12 episodes. 12 actually. Sorry, I'm just thinking about like how they would break it up. That's the one weird thing is that like so far, like when I'm reading the My Hero Academia manga, there's several moments that I'm like, okay, no, this seems like a good like stopping point, like where they could end a season. But like reading through, that it was like the pacing I found. Obviously, it's a little tough because it's like the pacing's kind of almost based on how quickly you can read, but. It's like I didn't really find there was any like dead moments. There was like very little filler because the thing is it doesn't need much filler. It's kind of like, okay, Duke can turn into a kaiju and they're fighting more kaiju. What else do you need? And it's like, all right, just let's watch like some epic fights. And the art in it is really, really sick, and there's some really cool moments in it. I literally read through the entire thing because I read through like the first like 5 chapters on the toilet. And then I like was just sitting on my bed and I read through the rest of the thing in like an hour, which was a little unfortunate because I was reading through and I thought the manga I thought the manga was like a lot farther along because I was reading through it and then it was like in the middle of a big fight and I was like, damn, this is getting like really good. And then it cut and I was like, where's the next chapter? And then I saw that it was like December because I thought the manga was done. And then I checked, and it was like, oh, no, it was like new chapter in 17 hours. And I was like, oh, this isn't even close. Like, this isn't even close
it's got
to
a release
being done.
date.
Yeah, like, I thought this was like the whole, like, I was like, okay, 50 chapters, that's a pretty short series. I can blast through that, no problem. But it's a really popular manga right now. But it's weird because, like, it's the first time, I guess, outside of Barrage, it's the first time I've read a manga that doesn't have an anime adaptation. And, like, first time I've read a manga without having an anime to kind of entice me to do so. So, I mean, I'm not upset by that because the manga is great.
I definitely have to check it out. It kind of reminds. It sounds like a lot like Attack on Titan.
Yeah, Attack on Titan.
They have like
it's
they have their defense force, and so, but what I really like is that instead of like Titans, it's like kaiju's. I prefer kaiju's.
Well, they all have very different designs. It's not just humanoid looking.
I just don't like how Titans look. It's
definitely.
I understand it's the story and stuff. It's just not for me. But I like monsters. They're cool.
Yeah, no, and it is really really cool. They had it is very similar to Attack on Titan. I honestly prefer. I think the main guy's name is Kafka, or Kakfa. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, he's really cool. I much prefer him over Aaron. Like, Aaron Yeager really bugs me.
I think it's because of like how old the main characters are. I mean, you take like, how old is Aaron, like when in season 1, like 16?
Isn't he like, I thought he was like 15, 16 because he's like 19 in
season 4.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, when you have like a young main character, I mean, that I guess that's kind of like the appeal of shonen main characters is like, oh, they're young and they're they have a lot of courage, it's like, power of friendship. But then it's like sometimes their youth is like really annoying because it's like, Aaron, you're an idiot, or whoever the main character is. But if when they're older, they're a little bit more mature. It's like, okay, this is the fact that they're able to take like an older character like that and still make it like a pretty good like shonen manga.
I really, because they have the good balance of, with the main guy being older. I like how because I can relate to him a little bit, because he's like, his whole thing is, he's like, well, I'm a loser. I want, like, this was my dream to join the defense force, and I failed that dream, and then suddenly I can turn into a kaiju. So now that dream is all of a sudden very real. Like, it's a very real possibility. But you still have that sort of like, so he's still growing because he's, because now he has to learn all this extra stuff. But the kid that's in it kind of fills out that sort of shonen thing where it's like, he's not really in school. He's kind of on his way out. But he's still like fairly young. But even then, it's still 18. Like most shonen characters, like My Hero Academia, everyone's like 15, 16. And I'm like, I gotta be honest, I really wish My Hero Academia was set like it was like a university instead of a high school. Like, if they were all aged up, I think it would definitely make some of the stuff a little less, because it's like them going to like battle tournaments and stuff, and like, Midoriya like shattering his hand and stuff. I'm kind of like, well, they could like technically, if they were adults, couldn't they technically like sign away or like UA could be like, just sign away your rights real quick, so if you get hurt, you can't sue us. Because I'm like, man, UA just seems like a huge lawsuit waiting to happen.
The thing about that, it's like with like high school comparing this to like college and stuff, it's like, when you're watching college sports, I feel like it's a little bit more like intense, like,
well, yeah,
obviously like
more on the line,
because you're a lot bigger,
because isn't it like, if you're going to school, like college or whatever, for a sport, you're like paying for that now. It's not like a after school hobby. It's like
they pay for you.
Oh, really?
No, they pay for you to play for their school. Yeah, because you're good.
Oh, I guess
that's where like scholarships and stuff come in. And like no, that's the one thing America's willing to pay for, sports and stuff. Apparently,
torched.
Dude, I remembered in, I think it was like one of my English classes, they were talking about school funding and stuff, and how like I think it was like a story, I don't think it was actually real. It was like how they were funding more like football stadiums and sports stuff, and less on like education, textbooks, and stuff like that.
Well, that's always the thing in most like movies. That's usually the conflict. Like, think of like any musical ever. It's like the principal's like, well, the drama club doesn't make me money, but the sports club does, or the sports do, so I'm gonna put all my money into that. And then all the main characters have to come together and be like, no, we're going to prove that the drama club is worth it.
We have to
just explained the entire plot
drama
of Glee.
competition. Dude, no. That's literally the plot of Stars Align. It's like I've told you this before. It's like a soft tennis boys team. They're really bad. And how do you say, student council president. She's like, oh, we can't waste our funds on like sports that don't win or anything. So like if you're not like whatever organizations or clubs are like not doing their part or like not showing results or like not going to get any funding or going to get disbanded, and then like the captain of like the tennis team or the soft tennis team, he's like, oh no guys, we got to like win in like the summer tournament so that we can, you know, get funded by the by the school. And so like, you know, the whole show is like them trying to like improve for that. That's literally the plot of Stars Align.
I think that was the thing for Lemonade Mouth too. That's a Disney movie. I don't know if you've seen it.
No,
but it was it's like the detention room is also the music room, and it's like below a bathroom and stuff, and it's like leaky and all this stuff. So they become this like huge band, and then they outperform the sports team and stuff. That movie's really weird. Like, a lot of Disney movies are weird looking back now, but when I was a kid, I was like, oh my god, it's so inspiring. But
because it's like, oh my gosh, you gotta save like our, I guess in Stars Align's case, you gotta stay over a tennis team. It's like this kid shows up, he transfers in, he has like natural athletic ability, and then the captain's like, hey, you've got to join our tennis team, and he spends like a few days in the anime like trying to convince him to join.
In Jujutsu Kaisen, the first episode, Yuji's part of this occult club, and then they're like, the school's like, we're shutting you down. You don't even have enough members. You don't even have the 3 members required. And she's like, yes, we do. He's part of this. And then the coach pops in. He's like, no, I registered you for track and field. And he's like, what?
Oh yeah.
He's like, I fudged some stuff, so you're part of my team now. But that was more of a joke. That was not.
I remember watching they were like trying to throw that ball. It's like the world record's like 20 something. Yeah,
Yuji's just like a god, like, no powers. He's just some like freak of nature. He can run like 60 kilometers an hour and stuff. That's actually like later in the show. Like, this is not really spoilers, but later in the show, one of the characters, like they're trying to decide like who to put, like where to put Yuji on one of the teams. And because there's like a mini tournament arc in Jujutsu Kaisen, and then one of the main characters is like, well, I'll just put this out there. If we were fighting without cursed energy, Yugi would kick all of our asses. So it's like,
that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Because I mean, everyone else is basically just normal people with magic, and then he's just. I really like. I don't know if it's explained in the manga, but it was never explained how he's just some like. Really, he's just random, like he was just born Superman, I guess. Or I guess more accurately, Captain America. Superman can fly and stuff. He's just really strong. But anyway,
that's definitely Jujutsu Kaisen is something that's like on KNI's list. That one, and also Fire Force. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I have actually. That's the one, isn't it? Doesn't it have a lot of fan service stuff though?
No clue, but firefighters fighting fires,
and it's like
pretty cool.
Some, like magic fires too.
Yeah, I think they have. I don't know if they have fire powers or like they do something like that. I just know it's pretty cool.
Well, I've seen people talk about.
Praise.
I've seen like one of the like main characters. I think her name's Tamaki, something like that. And I've heard people be like, "Yeah, Fire Force is really good, except for this one character who like ruins the show." And I was like, "Oh god." And apparently she's like super fan servicey and stuff. I've only ever seen, like, when I see clips of the show, I've only ever seen her in like a really skimpy bikini. So I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, unfortunate. But
well, as someone who's
who really likes bikinis.
What's the right way to word this? No. Since I've seen a few shows already that have, you know, a bit of fan service, it's like I can bear with it, you know. It's not the greatest. I wish it wasn't there, but I can get through the show. I feel like it doesn't. It's not gonna really stop me unless it's like really disturbing, like SAO for example.
Yeah, SAO. Actually, My Hero Academia, I was just thinking about it because I was like, I think maybe I was just talking to someone else. Or maybe I just thought it, but I was like, you know, My Hero Academia recently really hasn't had any fan service. Like the anime, there's a couple moments during the joint training arc, but I was like,
stuff's. I don't think they have time for that.
Yeah, like,
going
but
down right now.
Yeah, in the manga, I was like, damn, like they've like he's gone like a really long time with like pretty much no fan service, And then this week's chapter ended on a cliffhanger, and it was just pure it was just
I haven't seen Mineta in a while.
Shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, sorry, no, he did show up.
and
He showed up for literally 2 seconds.
Yeah, but that's it. What, like the last episode of the anime?
Yeah, because didn't he have his like they were all showing their moves. In the manga, he hasn't shown up in a while either. He had like one very small moment, but because the manga for the last little bit, and Horikoshi recently just said this because he said that the manga only has about a year left. Like he's like really trying to wrap it up now.
Wow.
Which means there's like roughly 50 chapters left, assuming he doesn't like that's actually if not less because he's probably gonna take some breaks. He said if everything goes according to plan, it'll be wrapped up in a year. But yeah, so he said like because like the reason the manga has been all about Deku and like a little bit of like Bakugo, but the major focus the last like I don't know like 50 chapters has been Deku, which he's my favorite character, so I don't really mind. But Horikoshi,
I mean, he's going through some stuff, right? I think.
Well, his
Deku.
stuff kind of just ended, and that's
Okay.
that's why like I've wanted to do a video talking about the manga because I'm like, I was really disappointed with where they went or with where he went with everything, because it was set up to be this like really cool thing, it was set up to be this really cool thing, and then it kind of like it took a hard left turn, and then everything went screeching to a halt, and now the manga week to week has been like a little bit slower. Like there's been some big reveals, but it was like the newest reveal I was kind of like, well, I kind of saw that coming. And then it was like where they went with it, I was hoping they were going to do one thing, and then instead it just did the typical like formula, and I was like, oh, okay.
I feel like it was like Deku, no, from Uraraka, and then Deku's like, oh no, Uraraka's hurt, and then he stops. Or something like that. I don't know.
Well, they
because they did that in the not the training arc, but when the two classes were going against each other, or with like the Black Whip. Spoilers.
Oh yeah. I don't remember what I was gonna say. Sorry.
Did it have anything to do with what I had predicted in the manga? I don't know. I've not read the manga. I'm just making guesses.
Well, the thing is, like, the manga, like, some really interesting stuff happened, and like, and maybe because I just had like unrealistic expectations for it, but they were doing something really really cool. And then again, they just took a hard left turn because like they revealed some stuff. Like they like because now it just feels like Horikoshi is just going down the list, like checking off stuff that he's missed. Bars, but it feels like he's like, okay, I need to finish up this manga quick. It really feels like Horikoshi just gotten bored with My Hero Academia, and he's like, I need to wrap this up quick. So he's like, kind of like, okay, so what have I missed?
He wants to wrap it up before people are like, hey, we want more.
Yeah, and go wrap up all the previous things because like, I can't really get into it, but they like revealed some stuff, and it was kind of like it's stuff that should be like, whoa, oh my god, what? But I was kind of like, no, I saw that coming, which is why, and like most people saw it coming, so that's why I was really hoping that he was gonna be able to like, kind of do a yoink and twist, and like same thing with like, this is minor spoilers, but the game's like 3 years old, but in Spider-Man PS4, early on in the game, you meet Otto Octavius, and every Spider-Man fan knows he's going to turn to Doc Ock. But what Insomniac did was made it so you didn't want him to turn into a bad guy. And they did that whole relationship very, very nice. So it's like now with this, in My Hero Academia, they did something similar, but it just immediately like took a hard left turn and then went back to being like, all right. So now it's like it was going really cool, and then suddenly it just got like if now it feels very generic all of a sudden. It just feels like we're repeating stuff that happened like back in like season 2 and 3. So it's like, okay, I really like where it was going because it was getting more mature as well, because it was like, okay, all these characters are actually maturing now, and then it kind of like rolled back. The only person that's really changed the most is Bakugo. Like Bakugo in the manga now is like a different person from who he was in like even like honestly the beginning of season 6. The Bakugo now is a different person from then. Like it's weird. It's like watching clips from him. I'm like from season 1. I'm like, what the fuck? He is like a different human. He obviously looks the same. Oh, it's Louis. You hear that?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna go check to make sure he's not like stuck on something. Anyway, so
yeah, I was hanging out with my girlfriend yesterday.
Oh, I was gonna say like right now. Like I'm like, what, is she like hiding in the corner? What do you mean?
Like... No, actually, I was tempted. Not probably tempted is not like the right word, but like I had the idea of like, oh, maybe you could like stop by and like be in the podcast, you know, because she is in town, so she could always come by. But then also it's like, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Oh, also she has other stuff to do right now, so there's that. But yesterday, I was watching Yumera Patissier with her. We had actually finished Yumera Patissier and the sequel and the special, and like the entire time the Kimbop, like her cat, was just like meowing to go in and out.
Wait,
so like
hold on, sorry, what's his name?
Kimbop.
Okay.
Yeah, her name's Kimbop. It's a Korean something. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I've could have sworn I've heard it before. Anyway, sorry,
but like every so often she'll like meow to go. She'll want to come in, we let her in, right? And then she'll want to go out, we have her go out, and then she comes straight back in. So it's like, okay, we'll just keep the door open.
Did she bring her cat with you, or with her rather?
She
or did you go to her
place? No, I went over to her place. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
This cat's just time or teleporting. I don't remember what I was gonna say.
But yeah, I always go over to her house and hang out. We had a good time finishing Yumera Patissier. It's actually a lot better than I thought it was. I thought it was just gonna be like another. I don't want to say another Food Wars, because actually I think Yumera Patissier came first in 2011.
Same as Anohana.
Watching Food Wars, I was like, okay, it's not bad. It's like pretty cool. Like, oh, it's delicious food, and then they like strip their clothes off for some reason because it's so delicious. But they don't have that.
Okay, I was gonna say I saw a clip of Food Wars, and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? This is like this close Food to Wars, being porn.
There's so much fan service. But then in Yumera Patissier, it's not. They still have like the element of like when they try something, it appeals to their senses, and it'll have like very descriptive language, but it's not gonna be like, oh, taking their clothes off or whatever, because all the characters are like in middle school in like the main season.
That'd be weird.
So there's hardly any fan service. There's like a lot of romance here and there between like some of the female students and like this young teacher who they call senpai, because he's older, of course they call him senpai. So there's like a little bit of romance. He's like, everyone has like a crush on this guy. But that's like as far as it goes.
Sounds like I guess case waiting to happen.
I guess like some romantic tension between like the two main characters. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but the show's been out for 10 years, so if you haven't watched it, it's kind of you can kind of tell they get together. It's cute. The show of it itself, it's pretty cute.
Isn't it like 80 episodes?
So the main season is like 50 episodes. And that's where so the premise of the show is she meets up, or she gets recommended to join the school by like this, the sensei, the senpai guy. And she joins like the top group, right? Because she got recommended everyone's like, oh, she must be pretty good. So she immediately joins the top group, but she doesn't know anything about baking. So she's joined by the 3 sweet princes, literally called sweet princes. And the entire season is just like the 4 of them working things out, trying to help her improve. They all have pretty cool character development and backstories and such. And then they compete in like tournaments and such against other groups in like their school, and then also amongst like other campuses across the world. So that's pretty cool.
Is this like Chopped but for anime?
Pretty much, yeah. So it'll have like a few episodes of the sweet princess trying to help out the girl, and then it'll have like the competition day where like they go up against the team with like the skills that they've learned and such, and you just kind of see like her getting better at baking, and it's pretty cool.
Like, even outside of anime land, that's a good way of like, or a really good way of getting better. Like when you set a game to the hardest difficulty, and it's like it'll be difficult, yes, but you know how much faster you'll get good at that game. That made no sense, but you know what I was going for.
Yeah. And like watching, like I was watching like the very end of like the main season, and there was like huge twists, because they major spoilers. There's like this team that's like really hyped up to win, and they're from like the Japanese campus of the school where like all the main characters are, but she's from the high school division. So she's like top of the class. She's like the best student in the Japanese campus. But their team gets beat out by someone from like, one of the other country's campuses. And it's like, whoa, you like totally forget that this team exists. And then it just catches you by surprise. And then now you're sitting there like, well, how are they going to beat him? Because it's like, it's really just like, it feels like it's 3 guys carrying this girl on like their back. One thing I really hate about the show is sometimes their scoring is like really bad. So like sometimes they'll have ties, and they do it on like a point system out of like 100. So it's like of all the scores you could have given them, they just happen to, both teams' scores just happen to add up to like the same number. Like how often does that happen, or it's off by like 1 point. It happens so many times in the show, and it kind of frustrated me a little bit, because it was like, well, what difference is like an 86 from like an 87, you know what I mean? It wasn't like too annoying. It kind of makes you understand like the gravity of like the situation, or like how tense it was and how tight the competition was, but also realistically it's 1 point.
Yeah,
there's no way they're that much better. Just 1 point.
This isn't even a problem with just anime, but like that happens very often where it's, where it's like they'll do something once and it's like, ooh, that was crazy. But once it happens for the 7th time, like, gotta bring it around to My Hero Academia somehow. But when it's like, Deku, pushing past 100% or using 100% and breaking his arm and beating the villain happening the first time is like, whoa, all right, that's pretty crazy. But when he's doing it for the 5th time, like, I have to go even further beyond. Like, buddy, you've done this before. Like, we've done this song and dance.
Further beyond at that point?
Yeah, it's like, at what point are you just there? Like, what? How long are we gonna keep prancing around this? But I don't know. It's what else did that recently? I honestly, I actually already see it happening a little bit. Speaking of, I'm looking at my list. Kaiju number 8 is, I can already see that aspect happening a teensy bit, with like minor spoilers, but it's like they do the thing where it's like, oh, is he gonna transform or not? And it's like they've already beaten that into the ground a little bit. And I'm kind of like, okay, it's great. I'm okay with him just starting out, all right, I'm ready to fight, instead of him being like, Oh, I don't know about this one, guys. It's like, okay, we fucking get it. Just get to it. Like,
Yeah.
but
I think it would have like been okay with like if I were rating it and I had saw that happening, I would have been okay with it. But then after having watched like the first season of Attack on Titan, where like Aaron's like, oh man, I don't really know like how to transform, or like everyone's like, is he gonna transform or will he be able to transform? Like after watching that and then read, or if I do ever read Kaiju number 8, I'd probably be like, yeah, this idea has already been explored.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with
Don't
watching.
like it.
I think that's kind of thing, is it sort of depends on what you watch first, because at a certain point, it's like, you watch enough shonen anime, eventually, like already I've only watched a handful of things realistically, and I'm like, already a lot of the tropes are like crystal clear.
Pretty similar, yeah.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, the moment where it's like, oh, is the hero going to be able to rise up to the challenge? It's like, it's kind of the problem with, I guess, just shows in general, I guess. It's like Batman, for example. What I really like about him is that what makes a great Batman story is not necessarily the physical challenge. Yes, that's cool. Everyone's, that's why like characters like, or like villains like Bane exist. But when you think of like the best Batman stories, like A Killing Joke, it's not really about the physical aspect of it. It's like, is Batman gonna survive the story? Well, yeah, he's fucking Batman. But it's more about like the psychological aspect and the ideas that it brings. Like, is what Batman does right? Should he just start snapping necks of these villains and make the world safer? Like, is it like, what the moral compass of Batman? Like, those kind of things is what makes it an interesting character, not the fact that it's like, well, he's a dude that can kick ass. It's like, we got 50 of those guys, So it's sort of like, but that's why when you see it's like Batman came first. So it's like when you see another character that's Batman-esque, it's sort of like, well, like, I guess, again, minor spoilers for My Academia, they tried to do a Batman-type character in the manga, and it was sort of like, it fell flat pretty quickly. So I'm like, I don't know, it's just a problem with watching enough shows. It's why I really liked Arcane. I guess I haven't really talked about it yet, but I watched that. Love that show. Great show. If it was on
Matthew
my
gives
anime
it high
list,
praise, but I have to finish it.
if it was on my anime list, I'd give it an easy 10. It's oh god, it was incredible. I've been watching clips from it again. It was just like, oh my god. I downloaded like 2 songs from it. I know it doesn't sound that impressive, but it's like the soundtrack's really good. The animation's really good.
I'd probably download Enemy.
Yeah, I've downloaded Enemy, and I've downloaded what's it called? Dynasties and Dystopia. Great song. If you know where that scene, or you know what scene I'm talking about, or where that song fits into that scene, it's, I'm talking about. Great scene. It's probably my favorite moment in the show, where that song plays. But the storytelling is amazing. The character development's really great. I really like how they handled all the characters. Nothing ever felt forced. And it was all just done very well. So it's like, maybe it's just because it's fresh in my mind, but they do a lot of show don't tell, which I really like. Like, I like anime, but I feel like sometimes anime does a little too much. Like, every so often it gets a little too much, where it's like, like you think of any, like My Academia, like any of those fights, it's like there's a lot of like the Deku versus Overhaul. You know how much of that is just characters pausing and be like, wow, this guy's really strong. I don't know how we're going to beat him. And
that's every anime.
Yeah, and they do one move, and it's like, damn, I wasn't expecting that. He's really good. And it's like, oh my god, just fucking fight him. Because it's like, when you think about, I saw it recently. Actually, I think it was the Deku versus Overhaul fight. Oh, no, it was the Deku versus Todoroki. Because there's aspects where it makes it better. Their inner monologue, like Deku's inner monologue about fighting Todoroki and Todoroki's inner monologue, and then the flashbacks, made that fight better. Because it's like, I saw a clip of someone, it's like, oh, the Todoroki versus Deku fight without any flashbacks or inner monologue, and it's like, it lasts like 2 minutes. Like, it's like really, really fast, but they made it. Because
with that fight, it's kind of like kind of character developing stuff with Todoroki.
Yeah, it's
but
like,
then when it's like overhaul, it's like you can't really develop like a villain. You know what I mean? He's like it's life or death. You don't have time for that. You
yeah,
just
it's like
kill
it
him.
was like because I'm like in a real fight. Like, okay, so Deku just got hit with a spike. He's not gonna be like, "Wow, that was a really strong attack." He's gonna be like, "Ow!" All right, on to the next move. And Arcane, like, it did a lot of showing and very little telling. Because it's like, but I also think it worked in the show's favor. So it's like there's a lot of moments where it's like they could have stopped and been like and gone through it. But I think arguably it made it better. It makes the scenes a little bit shorter, but it makes them like because they like in my opinion they just get better and better on rewatch. So I think overall
before we started recording, you had brought up how like they had not told the story, but like kind of gave the background information of like the story and such.
Yeah.
While everything was going on, without having to do like in the Fury Kingdom, there's magic and wizards like in fairy tale. You know what I mean?
In episode 1, like the main plot of Arcane is that it's like two opposing sides. There's the big beautiful city full of like rich people and wonderfulness, and then there's Zon, which is like the undertown, which is like this is where all the like homeless people live basically. And it's like it's no one cares about it, and it's like you live there, you gotta be tough, which is why it like explains everything about most of the characters. And there's a scene like very early on episode 1, they get back to the city and the sort of reveal of the city. It's like a quick like minute or two shot of like walking around, and it's like you get everything you need to know about the characters, about how they interact with the world and everything, and then you also get a feel of the kind of world they are, and then by in turn seeing where they grew up, you can see why they act the way they do, because it's like, okay, well they grew up in this place, so it's like obviously they're going to be a bit more like Vi, who's pretty much the main character, the pink-haired girl. It's like the reason why she's so like headstrong is because, well, she kind of has to. It's like you got to do what you got to do to survive. In a place like this. So I really like how they handled a lot of that. They did some of that later on, like a lot of fights. The show is also a lot more like visceral than I thought it'd be, because it's like I went into it because I didn't know anything about League, and I heard the show was good. I was expecting like a little kiddies show, basically, like sort of like maybe some like dark humor here and there, but there's like they come out the gate swinging. Like it's pretty chill for like a couple episodes, and I'm like, okay, yo, I'm getting with this. Like this world's pretty cool. The animation's very nice. Like this show's very beautiful. And then it's like episode 3 hits, and it's like, holy fuck. And it's just like it the ball really gets rolling in episode 3. Personally, I was hooked after episode 1. But the ball really gets rolling after that. It's kind of like My Hero Academia, where it's like, I was more or less hooked after the first like 3 episodes, but it was like episode 4 was like that's when I really got you. That's when I was like, okay, no. And then when I got to the All Might fight at the end of season 1, that's when I was like, okay, no, I'm sticking with this series till it's done. So it's like Arcane is really, really good. I fucking love that show.
Sorry, you were saying.
No, that's I was just gonna say I like the show a lot. It's really good.
I was gonna say I'm in the middle of episode 2. Had no idea until like just before we started recording that each episode's like about 40-ish minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, no wonder it took so long to get through the first one. But
that's weird, because for me, I was surprised at how fast the episodes are moving. And it's a problem why I've had to rewatch a lot of clips, and that's how I've been able to pick up on more stuff. Because when I started watching the show, I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins, because I've been playing this shit. I've put like 24 hours into that game in the last like week. But I've been playing that game, so I was watching Arcane on my second monitor while playing that, and then just kind of darting back and forth. And I missed a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of things that I missed, but I still got the general gist of the show. But there is some stuff, like there's some moments where it's like some music playing and like silent stuff because they're showing what's happening, and I'm like, what the fuck, what did I just miss? And then I'll usually have to back it up and then just pay attention. The entire last episode, or the last episodes, I guess, like the last like 2 episodes, I wasn't playing a game. I just like gave the show my full attention. And I actually would like to rewatch it soon, because it's like it was really, really good. But I found, like, I was watching through it playing Assassin's Creed Origins, And then I was kind of like, I didn't even realize like 3 hours had passed, and I was like, all right, that's a good time to like chill. And then I look over and I'm like halfway through episode 4, and I was like, oh shit, okay. um, that's also a little bit to do with Assassin's Creed Origins. That game's incredible. I fucking love that game. I know a lot of people don't like how the direction they've taken the new Assassin's Creed games, but I fucking love it because it's one of those games that it's like for me it's been my like, okay, just 5 more minutes kind of thing, because I'm like, I'll sit down to play it. Like today actually, I was like, okay, so me and Davis are recording in about an hour, so I'm like, okay, I'll pop in, I'll like get to the next region, I'll do that I'll like synchronize that viewpoint, and then I'm playing along, and then I get to the viewpoint, and I'm like, okay, there's a camp there, I'm gonna just drop down real quick, stab some bad guys, and then go to the next thing. And then I beat the camp, and then I was like, okay, I was like, okay, it's only like, I've only been here for 20 minutes. I got like, an hour or 40-ish minutes until we're recording. And then kept going, and then you sent me a message saying that you were like, yeah, I'm going to be a little bit late. So I was like, oh, I got plenty of time then. So then I'm fighting. I'm doing the story and stuff, and I'm like, man, this game's great. And I look over, and it's 11:05, and I'm like, where the fuck did the hour go? And it's like, it's happened several times where I'm like, I'll just sit down for 20 minutes. It's like 2 p.m. I'm like, okay, I'll just play for like 20 minutes. I'll quickly wrap up that camp, and then I'll move on. And then I'm like, oh, it's now 8 p.m. I'm like I actually, this is slightly off topic, but I was just thinking about it because it bugged me so much. In the game, because like, I don't know if you've ever played an Assassin's Creed game, but the whole plot of it is basically there's this like ancient, like, I don't know how to, like, there's the Creed, the Assassins, which are basically just to beat the Templars, which are just trying to like kill the world, basically, is the best way I can explain it. So it's set in, so there's modern day, there's this thing called the Animus, which allows you to go in and relive your ancestors' memories. And they have certain people that like their ancestors were assassins. So they go into the Animus, and it's basically to unlock their memories, and it's like to relive their ancestors' memories and see where they put, like, they're after this piece of Eden in the original games, or the older games, so they're like trying to do that. And Assassin's Creed Origins, the modern day, I don't give a shit about. The main, like, because it's set in ancient Egypt, and it's fucking awesome. So you can scale the pyramids of Giza, and it's awesome. Like, it is so great. The game is beautiful. And it's like they changed a lot of things up. They changed the formula, so now it's more RPG aspect. Like, you got levels now and everything. But what I like is that you can cheese it a little bit. So each region has its own level. So if you go back to one of the earlier regions that are like level 1 and you're level 25, well, you're steam cleaning everything. But you can also, but there's no like limit. You can go into a region that's suggested for level 40. You're just getting your shit rocked. Like, you won't be able to fight. But I was able to, like, because you can like sneak around, you can cheese it a little bit, so you can like jump down, do a stealth attack, take like half their health, run away, wait for them to forget about you, and then pop back and do it again, and whittle them away. And then I did a side quest because I like using the sickle sword because it does bleed damage. And like you get different bows and stuff, which is pretty cool. So there's like your warrior bow that's like a shotgun basically. It fires 5 arrows, and then you have your predator bow, which is like a sniper. Anyway, so there's a side quest that I did that you get a legendary sickle sword, and I was like, oh, sick! I've been using those. Oh, sick. So anyway, I get it, and then I was like, okay, this is like way better than my current weapon. It was like, I think it was like 8 or 9, like it was like higher quality. So I was like, okay, and it did like 200 more damage, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I put it on, and I'm like, okay, this is too good to be true, but it's cursed. So what it does is the weapon turns you into a glass cannon, because you become really strong, and you can hit like a truck, but you also only have a third of your health. You only have 33% health now. So you get 3 health bars, and then you lose 2 of them. So you're really, really strong, but like a couple of hits will take you down. So I was like, okay. So what I did is I went to a region that was like 3 levels above me, which is basically like I get shot with like a stray arrow and I'm keeling over. And I did a side quest where you had to like go into a temple and you had to assassinate one of the dudes in there. And it was great because it was like I just had to make sure my dodges were on point. And it is like really like I die at the drop of a hat. with most things. So it's like your dodges have to be like literally perfect. That's a bit of an exaggeration. You can fudge some stuff, but it's great because going back to because like that means because I can storm like the things that are higher level than me now, which feels great because it's like you have a bird that can like tag enemies so you can see where they're at. And if the enemy's too high level for you, it'll just do a skull icon because it's basically like you have no chance of beating this guy. And then it'll do red if it's like, also like it'll be like red, but they're level. So I'm like, I'm going to fight guys that are like 4 levels above me, and I actually stand a chance. It feels great because you also level up much faster. So then when I went back to the main quest, I was like storming through, because now I was like 3 levels above it. I had this crazy strong weapon, which then they took away from me because it was like, oh, you got to do this gladiator pit, and you only have to use the weapons I give you. And I was like, man, I hate this mission now. but still, I was like way high level for it. And then when it really hit me how strong the weapon was that I had to go fight a boss, and it was supposed to be this like super emotional, like you had to fight one of your old friends. And it was like, I don't want to do this to you. And it's supposed to be this epic clash. I dodged once, pressed R1, and one-shot them. And I was like, oh. Like, it was supposed to be this big, like, emotional fight. And I just rolled in and just, like, one-shot them. Oopsies. Anyway. But anyway, the game is amazing. Because I'm like, again, I'll sit down to play it for, like, a few minutes. And then I'll end up spending the rest of the day playing it. It makes me really want to play Odyssey, which is the one that everyone says is the worst. But...
I fully thought you were talking about Super Mario Odyssey. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh no,
dude, my girlfriend's been watching like speedruns of that game.
I have wanted to speedrun Odyssey, Mario Odyssey so badly because I beat it when I got my Switch, and then I was going back through and I was doing a couple like the side missions, or like you go to your different kingdoms and it's like, hey, go collect all the moons or whatever, dude. My favorite kingdom's probably Metro Kingdom. That was definitely pretty cool, but it's like the movement system in that game I think is like damn near perfect. Like Nintendo was like, they knew what the fuck they were doing with that game. Like I haven't really it's crazy how good the launch games for the Switch were, because it's like in the first year, like you had Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey in the same year. That is insane. Like those are really solid games, and I still think to this day they're probably the best games on the Switch. I haven't played a lot of them. Like I heard Astral Chain is really good. I haven't played it. I really liked Let's Go Eevee. I honestly sue me, but I like Let's Go Eevee more than I do Shining Pearl.
Wow.
Shining Pearl is fun, but I like it. The game looks great, but I'm also kind of like, well, this isn't that much different from Diamond. Like it's just regular Diamond and Pearl. And Let's Go Eevee is very, very similar to Kanto, but I really liked... I don't know, there's just something about... I like going through Kanto again for some reason. I like the catching...
The mechanic's slightly different. I mean...
Yeah, I think maybe that's what it was. It was just the fact that it was just different enough. It was like my first Pokemon game on the Switch, and it just kind of made me realize that it was like, man, why didn't they do this sooner? Like, this is amazing. and I want them to port every Pokemon game to the Switch, not even remakes. I don't care. Like, remakes are cool, but I'm like, just give me Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver on the Switch, and like just like update it slightly with some different UI, or yeah, that's the right term. Just update it slightly. Make it like 16:9 and everything like that, and like get everything all nice and set up, basically kind of like similar to Pokemon MMO. And it's like it would take them like 6 months to make. I don't know how game development works clearly, but I think it'd be really cool if they did that.
I think Switch has like the is it like the GameCube? You have to have like the Switch Online membership, but then you can play like a bunch of older GameCube games, and then there's like Nintendo 64.
I have Nintendo Switch Online, but yeah, that was the big like controversy because they came out with the expansion. And it's like, pay $25 more and you get like these other games, and everyone was like, "What?"
What?
Because I'm like, right now you can play like NES games. You can play. I think you can play A Link to the Past on your Switch. I think it's A Link to the Past. I booted up some old Zelda game on my Switch. But apparently the Ocarina of Time port for the Nintendo Switch Online is terrible. I've heard people having issues with it, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's unfortunate. But I don't know. I haven't been playing my Switch all that much recently, but I've put a lot of time. I put 90 hours into Breath of the Wild on my Wii U. And I'm like, I also love the Wii U. Like, I know everyone was like, it's okay, I guess, but I'm like, I don't know. I fucking loved it. It was not my first Nintendo console because I've had like DSs and stuff, but it was my first like Nintendo like console, I guess. Like I never had a Wii or a SNES or anything like that. And I really liked it. I prefer the Switch more. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't hate the Wii U gamepad. Maybe that's just because I got big hands. So I'm like, I didn't mind the Wii U gamepad. I never cared for like in Mario Kart, you have like, you can see your screen, and I'm like, you can see like the map, I think, which is like whatever. Like I said, I played a bunch of Breath of the Wild on my Wii U. I rebought it on the Switch. And it definitely looks better. Like, cause when I first started playing on the Switch, I was like, this looks different. Like, this definitely looks like either the graphics are better or something. But it's just the resolution. On the Wii U, it's running at 720p, and then on the Switch, it's running at 900p, I think. So it looks slightly better. I noticed immediately it looked clearer. Also, my eyes are watering for some reason, just tearing up.
I've been
just thinking about Breath of the Wild. It's just making me cry.
I've been shiny hunting with Kay, like on Shining Pearl. Yeah, we're trying to get the shiny Chimchar right now. We're both hunting for shiny Chimchar.
You're in the starter section.
Yeah, dude, it's like one in. You know they've increased the odds. They've doubled like the odds because it used to be like 1 in 8,000, and now it's like 1 in 4,000 something.
That's not so bad.
So that's for like a basic you run into the grass encounter.
Sorry.
So we're shiny hunting for shiny Chimchar, and it's taken me like a little over 600 resets. Cause it's 1 in 4,000. That means you're probably gonna have to reset it like 4,000 times to get one.
I don't know how
lucky.
shiny hunters do that. I'm like,
Oh no, it's so cool because you can literally like watch an anime and just like, you know, keep resetting for whatever.
Oh, is that what you guys did? Just watch?
Yeah, that's how we were able to watch or finish the Mario Patisserie, because we were just shiny hunting the whole time, which was nice. So.
I guess it's like, I guess it's kind of thing about like Origins. A lot of people didn't like that game because it was like people complained for it having busy work. Because it's like, hey, you beat this camp, you get treasure and stuff, you get more money, but it's like your money's to buy like a new outfit. But I'm like, I don't know, I like the busy work. It levels you up slightly, and I'm like watching a show or whatever. It's nice to go. Can I help you?
Well, at the same time, resetting for a Pokemon isn't really that much work. It's just you reset. I guess you go up into the forest to get your Pokemon, and then you just press A bunch of times until you get to the Pokemon screen.
I don't mind that kind of stuff in games. Bloodborne, Dark Souls, because those games have a story, but I don't like when I'm playing those games, I am almost always watching something else. I will rarely just like give that game my more or less full attention, because at this point, not to brag, but I think I've gotten to a point with Bloodborne that I'm good enough at the game that I don't need to give it my full attention.
Look at this guy.
I have played Bloodborne
look at this tough
so
guy.
many times, and the thing is, I've wanted to do I did a video on it a while ago, and I wanted to do another video on it, like fighting some of the harder bosses, just to be like, this is how good I am with this game, because it's like one of my favorite games ever. But I'm also like, I'm really scared to do that, because what if I like talk all this smack about how great What are you complaining about? I know there's fries on my desk, but you just ate. Sorry. Zuko just had lunch, and he cleaned his fucking bowl, but now if there's Burger King sitting on my desk, he's like losing his marbles. Bink, bink. Anyway, what was I saying? Something about Bloodborne. Yeah, I wanted to fight
Yes.
some of the tougher bosses. Like
You said you were scared about like going into it and then saying all this crap and then not
because
being able to do
I'm
it.
like, oh yeah, I'm really good at the game, and then I'm gonna go in and get absolutely wrecked. Oh no, I did my. Actually, I think I'm gonna say this now, and I might disagree with myself later, but I think my favorite video on my channel to date is my Bloodborne Old Hunters video, where I did the
I kind of
entirety.
like your I kind of like your Blue Eyes White D, the short.
Oh, Inscription.
Yeah.
I'm like, in terms
I
of a
that
full video, I think Bloodborne Old Hunters DLC is like one of my favorites because I really liked how, because basically the whole I just like, it was on a whim, and some of my best stuff is on a whim. When I have to
mhm.
when I sit there and plan it, I find that I get in my head about it, because then I'm like this is gonna sound weird, but so I did the Yu-Gi-Oh video like a month ago now. I think it's been a while. Have I really been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a month now? Fuck.
It's crazy.
But I did the Yu-Gi-Oh video, and I was like, and it did really well on my channel. I had a lot of fun making it. It was relatively easy to make, as in like it only took me like I think I spent like 2.5 hours editing it. So it was like, overall, I was like, I got through this pretty quickly, and I really liked that video. People enjoyed it, and then I like going to make another one. I got really nervous because I was like, because now I feel like there's almost like pressure to make it better than the last one. Um, a big reason why I haven't done another Pokemon series is because I did my Black Randomizer Nuzlocke in November of last year, and I love that series. That is like one of my favorite series on my channel. I really like the editing in it. I like the thumbnails. But I also did that series on a whim. Like I was just like, I was sat there, like from coming up with the idea to recording it was like 10 minutes. I was sitting at my desk. I was like, I kind of want to play Pokemon. And I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'm going to do a Black Randomizer Nuzlocke. Like, I don't need any layout. I don't need any fancy, smancy stuff. I was like, I just booted up the game, started recording, and then I ended up beating the game. I beat my first Nuzlocke and everything, and I completed a series in 8 episodes. Like, I was really, really happy. Or 7 episodes, actually. Yeah, I beat the whole game in 7 episodes. So it's like, I really, really liked how that series turned out. So I was, and again, that was on a whim. And I've tried to sit down and do a Pokemon series, but the problem is I'm like, I've been putting a lot of thought into it, because I'm like, well, I have to do something better than that, instead of just being like, nah, fuck it, I'm just gonna play some Pokemon and like chill. Because the other thing is that I get in my head about yes, I get in my head about like how I'm going to like, I every once in a while I'll get in my head about my commentary, because since I've returned, more or less, because I've still been very sketchy with uploads, but like this year as a whole has been very weird, because I'm like, when I think about it, I haven't done like videos and let's play type of thing really since December of last year. It was when I was like, because I was thinking about how I wanted to change up some videos, but like for a few months I was uploading pretty consistently, and I was doing let's plays all the time, and then from January to October I really made like no videos. I barely made anything. So for like 10 months I wasn't making videos anymore. So then when I came back to videos, I had sort of like lost my touch, because I even now I still don't know how to commentate anymore. So it's like, I'll get in my head about it, because sometimes I'll have great days, and that's usually when the next day is really bad, because like I'll make a video and I'm like, man, that was really funny, and I'm like editing it, and I'm like, as I'm editing, I was like, okay, that's like, no, this is some pretty funny stuff, and then once and then the next time I sit down and record, I'm like, okay, that last episode was really funny, like this has to be like, there's also just days that I'm just not really feeling it, and then I'll record anyway. And then I've had so many videos where I'm like halfway through recording it, or even like I'll be doing my outro, and it's like, I don't know why I do this, but there's been times where I've recorded for an hour. I'll be doing my outro, and then I'll get quiet and I'll pause for a second and I'll look down and I'll be like, why am I even doing this? This is such a bad video. like it'll be in the back of my head as I'm going, because I'll be like I'll be like quiet during a cutscene or whatever, and I'm like, wait, no, I should be making jokes right now. And then I start thinking of jokes, and then I'm like, none of them. I'm like, well, none of these are funny, because now I'm actively trying to be funny, and it doesn't work. So then I'll just like start saying stuff, and then usually I'll just pause and be like, no, this is terrible, and I'll stop recording and just like play the game on my own or whatever. And it's like it happened with Scarlet Nexus. Scarlet Nexus though was more of a like I was kind of like, wait, no, this game's actually really cool. I want to play it on my own. Like this.
I feel like a lot of Scarlet Nexus. Would you say it's an RPG?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I'd say like a lot of RPGs, that sort of thing. Best played like on your own.
Yeah.
Because there's like a lot of like side missions and stuff. There's, I don't know how I would put it in a video.
Well, like, actually, I'll use Assassin's Creed Origins as a example, because that game, the main quest line takes about 20 hours. But you have to do a lot of side quests and stuff to get your level high enough to actually continue through. Mm-hmm. I've spent 24 hours. I'm a little halfway through the main story, and I've done quite a few quests or side quests and stuff. But I've also skipped a lot of cutscenes on the side quests because a lot of the side quests are the same thing, being like, "Oh, my farm is being attacked by bandits," and I'm like, "I don't care. Let me just like it's like I've heard this story. I've heard this sob story 15 times already. I don't care anymore."
You would think you would have killed all the bandits by now.
So it's like, yeah, so it's just like a skip. All right, time to get stabbing. But there's been a couple times where side quests will take a turn and like they'll throw an unexpected twist in there. So I'll skip. So I'm like, okay, it's like, okay, go deliver. Like, so it's like I had to go grab like an amulet or something. And it's like you grab that and you deliver it back to the guy, and then it's like, okay, skip, and then you'll skip, and then suddenly you'll wake up in like a different room, and it's like, oh, you've been drugged, and I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, maybe I should have skipped this cutscene, because then suddenly I'm like locked in a cell, and it's like, okay, you got to escape out now, or you got to escape and kill all the guards and get your gear back, and I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have skipped over this. I feel like I missed some story here, because I'm like, well, it's a side quest, and most of the side quests just boil down to, oh no, I'm in trouble, please help me. And then because like you play as Bayek of Siwa, who is a Medjay, who is like supposed to be like a protector of Egypt. So it's like everyone expects him to be this like superhero basically. But so it's like you constantly get people being like, oh, help me. There's a couple cool side quests. Like there's one where like this like little kid, or it's like some kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like some like mob boss almost, is like he's been like kidnapping kids' parents and forcing the kids to steal stuff because they're like small and they're quick and they can grab something, like grab coin pouches off people, and you know, and it's like, oh, if you don't do this,
so you're killing the kids.
No, they're like threatening to kill the parents if you don't, or like their protectors or whatever if you don't do this, or like the older siblings that are like that can actually fight back, and that kind of thing. And there's one where this girl like steals your coin pouch, and then you start chasing after them, and then she leads you into a group of bandits because she's like, well, you're a strong guy, so she steals it off of you, and then you have to fight these bandits. And then it's like that's how she's like that's how she gets out of it, because now she's like, okay, hey, you're strong, you can help me get out of this. My family's been kidnapped by this guy. So then you go on this quest to like break her out, and then you go kill these guys, and I'm like, damn, that was a really cool side quest.
That's really cool.
Other side quests are just like, hey, my crops are being burned by bandits. Can you go stop them, please? And it's like, for sure, I got you, man. And I feel bad because I'm like, a lot of stuff I will base it off of EXP. So I'm like, okay, I get 3,000 EXP for doing this. And it's like, this guy's like, please help me. My family's in a lot of trouble. These bandits are threatening to kill everyone. And I'm like, yeah, but I only get 1,000 experience points for these, and this other guy where I have to do less work gives me more. So I'm like, you're on your own, pal. Like maybe I'll come back to you later when I got some free time, but and it's like, but also some side quests are really weird. Like there's one that I got like 2,000 experience, and I did like, it was like this huge quest line. It was like, okay, you killed this guy. And it's like, oh, but wait, there's one more. And it just kept going. And I was like, oh my God, this is all I'm getting out of this. And then I did one where it was like deliver something to someone like up the road, basically. And it was like 4,000 experience points. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why am I wasting my time with this other nonsense? So anyway, that game is really amazing though. I love that game.
Dude, there's like a lot of games I like just want to download and just play like on my own, but at the same time I'm like, should I do a video on this? Should I not? Like I definitely want to make a video.
That's been my problem as of recently. I've actually talked to Toby about this a small bit, or we kind of talked about it, because like we're trying to figure out what to do for our next video, and like the problem we're running into is like of finding a game that suits us both, and like our commentary styles and everything. Because I think that's a problem I have, is I have a bad habit of picking games that don't work for me. Like, I like playing, but they're not good to commentate on. And, like, Terraria, for example. I love Terraria. I have a shit ton of hours in that game. I've been playing it since 2014, and I've tried to do videos on it several times, but it never works because I start playing it, and then I'm like, man, I just want to... Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to play the game, or I'm recording it, and then I'm just like, I get to a certain point where I'm like, man, I just want to play Terraria. I don't want to commentate. I don't want to sit here and try to like keep up the energy. I just want to just like slump in my chair and like just play Terraria.
I feel like Terraria is just one of those chill games.
And it's the same thing with like Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm like, it's fun to do like to an extent. That game is good to like, okay, I'm gonna record for an hour. I'm just gonna go like dick around. That stuff is fine. But I'm like, I couldn't do like a full story let's play on that game. The story's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it. I couldn't do a thing like that. Scarlet Nexus. I really wish I had done a let's play on that game. But I'm also like, yeah, it would have made for some bomb ass thumbnails. But I think it wouldn't have been like, because the story can get like, there is like some cutscenes that are like 30 minutes long of just back and forth, and I'm like, am I just gonna sit in the corner? Just like listening to this, like, because like the more I think about it, like while I was playing it, I'm like, man, I did just sit here, and the story was interesting, and I was definitely engaged, but I was also just kind of like sat here in my chair, like, wow, that's interesting. Like, you know, I'm like that's so I'm like, I don't really think it would have worked for a video.
I feel like you could do like just like record the whole thing, do like a highlight video.
Well, that's actually I do want to do more stuff like the House of Ashes video that I did. That was intended to be a 4-part series, but then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna put it all in one video, and then it was like 4 hours long. So I'm like, the problem I've been running into though with recording bigger videos is, Zuko, get off my desk. The problem with recording bigger videos is that I don't have any storage space. like games take up so much space now. I've been having a lot of technical difficulties recently, and I don't 100% know why. I think it's a mix of, one, I have a dirt cheap USB hub. Like, it was literally like $7 at Best Buy, because I just need something quick, and I think it's crapping out on me. And I have a hard drive that I've had for 5 years, going on 5 years, and it's crapping out on me too. And I've just been too lazy to do anything about it. So I'm like, I've been having it, so it's like my webcam will cut out because it's plugged into this thing. So I'm like I can hear stuff rattling around in there, because I'm like, I'm pretty sure whatever circuit is holding it together is loose, and
It's
I'm just
holding
like,
by a thread.
and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta just like stop being lazy and go get stuff. But I'm also like, man, shit's expensive. Like, I'm not man of money here. So it's tough. So I don't know. Like, I was trying to. There's also sometimes where it's just out of my control. Like Five Nights at Freddy's game that just came out. I've been trying to record that, and it's just been miserable because that game is optimized like a pile of dog shit. Like, that game is like, I don't know. It bugs the crap out of me. Because, and also Shadowplay, for some reason, decided to start being an asshole, because Shadowplay is what I use to record, and it's based on, it uses your GPU to encode most of the footage, so it's a bit more efficient. But the problem I've been running into is I've had no issue with it since I've been using it since like September, but for some reason it's started picking up my microphone audio. So I recorded an hour of Five Nights at Freddy's, and then suddenly I was like watching through the footage, and I was like, wait a second, why is my audio playing 4 times over? So I had this like big echo effect of the whole thing. And And it really bugged me because the video was ruined because now the audio sounded like dog crap. Because no matter what I did to sync it up, it just sounded way too terrible. So I was like, okay, well, gonna have to re-record now. And for some reason, Shadowplay is now like it's like overrided my mic settings on like everything. So it's like if I mute my mic, so it's like if I mute my mic in Shadowplay, so it's like it should be muted for the recording. It mutes my microphone for everything. Like Audacity doesn't pick up on Audacity, it doesn't pick up my camera. When I'm like using the direct monitor thing, like right now I can hear myself through my headphones, and if I push this button, I can't, and it sounds super weird. Whoa, oh, that was strange. Oh my god. So it's like I can hear myself through my headphones, but when Shadowplay mutes my microphone, I can't hear it. Like I can't hear it at all, and I'm like, I don't know why it has that power, but like it really shouldn't. So it's
sticking over your computer.
I guess so, and it's really annoying because OBS, I've tried recording with that in some games, but it just doesn't agree with my computer, I guess. Because like the game will run fine, my face cam will run fine, but then for some reason when I go to record it, I have all the right settings, and it's like my computer's definitely strong enough to handle it. It'll start running at like 15 frames per second as soon as I boot up the game or like click back into the game. So I'm like, man, I don't fucking know. So it's like I woke up at like 6 a.m. yesterday to try and set up a video, and it just wasn't working even a little bit. So anyway,
well,
I guess this is the life of being a YouTuber, but it's still fucking annoying. Like, it's
you got USB difficulties, you got Shadowplay difficulties. Your mic arm is breaking.
Breaking. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Oh, but it's right there. Yeah, you can't see that.
No,
there's a huge crack in it, and it's like it's getting worse by the day. When I was moving my room around, I almost dropped it. I did some like Matrix catch, thank God.
Almost ended your whole career right there.
Still, oh my God! Real quick, I know we got to start wrapping up the episode, but real quick, I don't know. Another technical difficulties was my headphones. I think I've praised these headphones before in a podcast episode because they are very good. They're the Status CB1s. They're $100. They're like really, really solid. Got this nice like brass thing on them. They're very nice. Detachable cable, a coil cable. Very nice headphones. Especially for the price. I have a $50 US or audio interface that I've had for a few years now. But suddenly while I was cleaning, I was watching Corey Kenshin, and I had it on my speakers because I was like, well, I'm moving around, so I can't really have my headphones in. And then got everything set up the way it is now, and then played my headphones, and I was like chilling, watching videos, and everything was great. And then I pause, I go to the bathroom, I come back, I put my headphones on, and then the most demonic sound starts playing out of my headphones. Like a really loud screeching. The video sounds all distorted, and I was like, what the fuck? Did my computer just get possessed in the 5 minutes it took me to go, like, run upstairs and take a poop? So then I start troubleshooting. So I switched to my speakers, my two Logitech speakers, switched to those, press play, sounded fine. So I was like, okay, it's most likely not my sound card then. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to switch cables. Maybe it's the cable. Switch cable, same demonic sound starts playing really loudly, and I'm like, okay, well, shit. Either my headphones are broken or my interface is broken. So I then unplugged my headphones, plugged it in my phone, which I don't know why I didn't try this first, but I plugged it in my phone, and I started listening to music, and I was like, okay, no, music sounds perfectly fine. And then I finished the song because I was like, the song's a fucking bop. I was listening to Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana, but great song. Anyway, so I was like, all right, this is a bop. Anyway, gotta get back to work. So then, not even work, just trying to get this to work so I could chill and play Assassin's Creed and watch videos. So then I was like, okay, I plug it back in, same sound, unplug it, restart my computer, plug it back in, sound gone. So I was like, okay, what? So then I open up Audacity and press record, and the microphone's just not working now. Like it was playing like very, very, very quiet. Like even when I cranked the gain all the way up and cranked the audio all the way up here, it was like very, very quiet. And it also wasn't playing through my headphones. YouTube playing through my headphones. Audacity wasn't. It was playing through my laptop speakers, which I was like, what the fuck? I don't even have those like set up at all. Like I don't have them like selected in my sound settings. So it starts playing through that, and it's like very, very quiet. I was kind of like, I can't hear anything. But then I heard like, cause I got like I peaked a little bit, so I took my headphones off so I could hear like a. I was like, what the fuck is that? So realized it was my laptop speakers, so I switched to my Logitech speakers, and then it was playing through that, albeit very quiet, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? So I switched back to my USB interface, and then it was playing through the speakers again, and I'm like, what is happening with my fucking audio setup? So anyway, I restart my computer again. I unplug that. I plug it back in. I do a couple tests, you know, start spitting some fire, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't even know anymore. But it,
bars.
It all worked. And I was like, okay, well, that was a roller coaster to basically get nowhere. No idea why it just randomly started happening. Why I had a demonic screech play through my head. Like, it was loud. And the audio on YouTube just sounded super distorted. And I was like, okay, well, that was fucking creepy. Because I think
like, before
maybe
you had restarted your computer the first time, the demons were like, okay, let me mess with the audio settings before
because I was
leave.
Because I was thinking why I thought my cable was busted. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe like when I went up to go poop, I took my headphones off a little too aggressively or something like that. But it was like, no, it just decided to, for some reason.
Demons.
I think I genuinely think it's my audio interface because I have everything running into that. I got my mouse, I got my thing. My keyboard's the only one running into my laptop directly, and I've rarely had issues with my keyboard. So I'm kind of like, all right. I think I just need to get a new interface. There's one I want to get. It's one that you can put an M.2 SSD in it, and that has a bunch of ports on it. So I want to get that one, but it's like it costs money, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to wait to get that one.
You kind of don't have a job.
That's kind of true. I have one more day on Sunday, and then I don't have a job.
Well, by the time this goes up,
I'm unemployed.
It'll be unemployed. Happy unemployment.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait to be homeless. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, I'm excited to just chill for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
I really want to focus up on videos, focus up on school,
especially with like the holidays. I'm gonna start winding down
and just have myself a time. Me and Zuko are gonna hang out, watch some anime. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna start. I want to start a shorter one that's a little bit more not depressing. So I'm probably gonna watch like Horimiya or something, assuming that's not miserable.
Oh no,
so it's
not.
Like I think I'm gonna rewatch the My Hero Academia movie, like either the first, second one, third one comes out soon. I'll be able to watch that in February. I think is when that comes out. But yeah. Anyway,
seems like it's a good time to wind down and wrap it up.
Yeah, I think I talked. I guess the only thing I didn't talk about was Kiki's Delivery Service, was the Studio Ghibli movie I watched this week.
Oh, how was that? Did you like it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think I like it a little bit more than Spirited Away.
Okay.
And My Neighbor Totoro. Grave of the Fireflies is just kind of you can't. Why is there so many fucking sounds going on today? I think. Someone out there with a snowblower? What the fuck is that? Anyway, but I don't remember what I was gonna say. Yeah. I found Kiki's Delivery Service to be way easier to follow than most excluding Grave of the Fireflies, because that's, but excluding that, I found Kiki's Delivery Service to be the easiest to follow. It was just, okay, she's a witch. This is why she has to leave, because every witch has to do this, and she's going to this city, and it was like, I'll admit, not that much happened. Like realistically, like she started her delivery service. She delivered like 3 packages, and then was like, "I'm so great," and then the movie ended. But I don't know. It was a nice. It was nice feel good story. I didn't really have any issues with it.
Yeah.
And
Solid.
so it's like right now, I don't know if it's my favorite Studio Ghibli movie because that just feels weird to say. Because I'm like, it's tough because Grave of the Fireflies. I'm like, I don't know, because it's like for me, I'm like favorite movie. That's like something like I could drop everything to rewatch it. Right. Grave of the Fireflies. I don't want to rewatch it. Like, it is so depressing that I'm like, I watched it once. All right, got it, got my tears out. Moving on. Like I that is not a movie I would want to rewatch. But it's like Spirited Away. I would rewatch. Kiki's Delivery Service. I would rewatch, especially because of how short it is. My Neighbor Totoro is very short as well. But I'm like, I don't know. I really like the movie. It was pretty solid. So far managed to get a Studio Ghibli movie every episode.
Seems like you're enjoying all the Studio Ghibli movies. You haven't encountered one that you hated, right?
Yeah, no, I haven't really found a movie that like I was like. I think if I had to rank them right now, I think I'd actually put Spirited Away at the bottom, which is funny because I think I put Kiki's Delivery Service as a 7, and Spirited Away as an 8 in my thing. But my worry is that I feel like I gave Spirited Away an 8 just because of the sort of following behind it of like everyone's like, this movie's the greatest Studio Ghibli movie you'll ever watch, and I'm kind of like, maybe, but I feel like I just didn't understand what the fuck happened in that movie. Like, there was just so much going on that I was kind of like completely lost on, so I feel like I don't really have much of.
I feel like with those, everyone kind of has like
different
different
interpretations.
Yeah, for each movie,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a to each their own. I feel like there are most of their movies are like the same rating ish.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them around like 7 or 8. They're very consistent. Like when you're watching a Studio Ghibli movie, it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy this. So yeah, so anyway, that was my thoughts on Kiki's Delivery Service. I don't know what I'm going to watch next, probably because I was going to watch Howl's Moving Castle next, but then I opened up Netflix and that popped up and I was like, "Oh, it's an hour and 30 minutes. I'll watch it." Or an hour and 40 minutes. It was relatively short. So it's like my goal right now is I just want to get through all the Studio Ghibli movies that are like the big names that it's like, because it's one of those things like I still have so many anime that I haven't seen that it's like, it's kind of like, oh, you say you're a video game fan, it's like, oh, but have you ever played Minecraft? Sort of thing. So it's like, oh, I say I'm an anime fan, but it's like, have you watched Naruto? And I'm like, no. So I'm like, and it's like saying like, it's one of those things that I'm like, I want to watch through them at least once. So it's like, if I ever get the question, hey, have you seen this movie? And it's a Studio Ghibli film, I can be like, you bet your bottom dollar I have.
Well, you could always lie and say you have seen it and just like.
Well, then what if they're like, oh, hey, but okay, so what did you think of that one moment? And I'm like, yeah, it was great. And they're like, what? I hated that. Or yeah, they're just like, oh, what do you think of this character? I'm like, oh, I hated them. They were terrible. It's like, what? Or I'm like, oh, yeah, they're the greatest. They were the villain. I know. Like, so anyway.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning into today's episode of the Shūmatsu podcast. We'll see you guys next year.
Shit, you're right. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
This is the last episode of the year. Sorry I talked for too long, guys. But also,
Merry Christmas.
Longest Merry Christmas. Episode.
Wait, Sunday is the 26th. It's not Merry Christmas.
Merry
I hope
Christmas
you had a wonderful
yesterday.
Christmas.
We had
it's
a great
tomorrow
Christmas.
For us.
So I
it's
guess
tomorrow for us.
That is weird.
I enjoyed my Christmas.
I did too. I had tons of presents. You want to see it? There, it's right here. I got a. Bye.
We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.